Hi, I'm Silvio and this is part 5 of my 2025 Christmas Village full tutorial series. Part 5, a little more than a month and I am there. Maybe a little behind the schedule, I admit it, but believe me, when you deal with a new design allowing me to get my railroad, my train at an impossible age, it is very easy to get some late in the schedule. So I still don't know if it will work because I still need to test the stability, etc. Right now it isn't very stable, okay, but I know that it can work in theory, and this is not even half the rate I want to achieve. So maybe I will have to develop some new pieces, some adding new parts to my original design, and you haven't seen the curved section obviously. But it will be a work in progress all along this week, and I hope to let you see the train rolling on the first track, on the first section of the track, even if experimental, okay? Even if experimental. By the way, guys, as maybe you know, as you may know, my channel has been unlisted by YouTube in the hype here in Italy. So please, if you have an account on YouTube, if you subscribe on YouTube, not necessary to have a channel, please, when you give thumbs up, also look for the little hype section and try to click it. It's completely free. You can hype maximum 3 times per week, and on the last week, when I upload a video, it will be hypeable for no more than 7 days in a row. This will help me add more traffic to this channel. Okay, thank you guys. So what you will be seeing all along this week, all along this part 5, other than my attempt on something very crazy. I will add a couple more buildings, yes, maybe 3. I don't know if I will have the time, but I also need to slide, to pull towards the border of the layout the entire part you have back there, the entire commercial / industrial section, simply because the railroad that I have underground, under that level, under that section right now, because I haven't elevated it yet, it will be too complicated to adapt. Keeping in mind that I also have some strange pipe with some fluid inside, okay? So maybe I will slide it a little more in order to get the pillars, the trestles, easily placeable, more easily placeable than that. And maybe some more surprises. But right now, let me get to work on something. Let's start, guys. During part 4, you have seen me assembling this little piece here, okay? And those were the first batches of elements that came out from my 3D printers, my FDM 3D printers. And I wanted this, not precisely like that, to support some tracks, some HO tracks, and in this way I can elevate the railroad, and the support can be used with 2 tracks like that, or 1 track in the middle, etc. Okay, and this part here is essentially composed by a lot of rounded pillars, rounded trestle elements connected together by some open lock clips, sorry guys, that are those ones as you have seen, okay, like that and like that. Then you insert two clips like that. This one is a misprint, it is broken here on top, so out. And let me take another one. Like that. And then another pillar and joining together until you hear the click of the clip, like that, okay, and so on. By the way guys, I 3D printed a lot of elements, okay, and they are not the only ones. Then in order to get this little piece supported, I needed something to connect. That's why I developed those supports here, that if you watch carefully, before I need to remove the supports, like that, and those are the only pieces I used that use a support, because I need the connection, the junction to be perfectly like that. Let's remove, but you have already seen me assembling this, okay? And by pure chance, this connection here and this one are aligned like that. So if you take some other clips, like that, and you clip them together, 1, 2, then you can attach this to the horizontal track like that, and then the pillar gets connected here like that, and so on. Okay, this is a good starting point, but the problem is that, will this be stable? Let me assemble some other two pieces if I have them. Yes, I have them there, and instead of using this here, let me use them like that, like that, like that. Joining piece with piece, okay? And then let me get just two of them like this, clip, and voila, it is done like that, and it will support, okay? And obviously those two pieces can also connect between them to support in the middle. This is good, but will it sustain? And you can see that if I apply some forces, it tends to open. Okay, it tends to open. And my intention I used two of them. Let me use only two of them here. Also like that. And then like that. And like that. Okay. Let me complete this assembly here. I used plenty of connectors. For each piece you can have 2 and 2 4. But instead, let me do this to demonstrate, to prove that in reality you need less of them. Okay, those one are there, so one hole, let's say one hole, you aren't seeing it, so those two ones are just one hole separated. From this one there is 1, 2 and the third one. From this one to this one there are another one hole, but it seems bigger because there is the distance between them. Okay, so this seems stable at this 8, but these tend to detach there. You can see that these tend to detach. Okay, because it's physics, guys. When something gets on top of it, the forces push towards down, and where you don't have the connection, it will fall down. And my intention is not to use a pillar for every hole, because otherwise it will be unwatchable and unsustainable and too long to 3D print. Okay, and is it possible? I demonstrate it, but if I want to use less possible pillars, and during part 4 I add only model head, pillars, connections and straight. I said to myself, is there a way to use the same system to make the connection, the horizontal connection here between each piece more stable? I can use maybe one here and one there and connect the top with something. Yes, but I wasn't satisfied with that. So instead, I modeled something strange, that is this piece here, okay, that can or cannot be connected to some pillars, guys. And this I modeled this joining together two of these supports here. Okay, so I joined it together, that's why I have supports inside there, but all the rest of the pieces have absolutely no supports and can be 3D printed supportless. Okay, voila, removed. And this if you place it like this, okay, it will improve the connection. It will it will make the connections, the horizontal connection between the two parts, more reliable. Okay, more reliable. Let me do something strange. Let me remove this one like that, and the trick there was to calculate exactly the distance between the two of them. Clip here and clip there. This is already more stable, it doesn't bend anymore, okay? Then obviously I can add, but already like that it sustains a triangle here, guys. Remember my passions for triangles? Here I have a triangle, so the forces are applied in plain middle of the diagonals there, so all the forces are applied at here. But instead here you can see that it flexes here in the middle, it continues to flex there. Here no more, and I have just added one sustain on there, okay? And let me add the final like that. Like that, if you want to improve once more the stability. Then something else to be 3D modeled and 3D printed to add here and there, okay? So guys, this is how I will proceed. This simple piece there improve terribly the stability of the structure. Even double the stability of the structure. And I want just to remember that if I want, I can also connect this piece to the other piece to improve once more the stability. But I don't think I will have the needs for them for other clips, guys. Okay, so I will proceed this way, and the higher I go, the taller I go, I risk to have some problems. Okay, let me do some stability problems, sorry. Let me do this, because this, I haven't heard the clip now, yes, because this, the higher you go, can tend to do this movement here, left and right, so the pillars can do this movement here the higher you go. But and you can add horizontal support even to the pillars. And like that. Okay, now it isn't horizontal because I miss some other ones like that. And like that in here. Okay, but these prevent the pillars to be unstable, okay? And the structure is stable. Obviously, if I add another piece there, it will become once more stable. Okay, let me remove those ones because I don't need to go there right now, but in some minutes, yes. Okay, like that. You haven't seen yet, because they weren't ready during part 4, the rounded section, the curved section, and I will use some R1 curves, HO tracks. Those are from Pico, P-I-K-O, and they have a radius of 360 millimeters, so 36 centimeters, the outside radius of the ring, as I already told you. And those, for better stability, I modeled them in shorter pieces. Okay, this one is like 2 of the others. Okay, the straight one is like 2 of those ones, because the curves here need to get a 30-degree angle. Okay, like that, and you can see that the curves goes there, okay, or here or there. It doesn't matter. You can use even here 2 tracks or just 1 track, and it follows without a problem the path of wherever I want to go. That if I get them correctly modeled, will go like this, and so on, like that and like that, starting the curves there and getting, oop, this one is damaged, I will not use it, like this, connect and go on. The problem, guys, good, during the first days of the week I said, okay, I did it, but I miscalculated, or I did a wrong design with the horizontal joining pieces that will improve stability. Those ones will absolutely don't go there, guys, because those are curves. Okay, those are curves. Each time I add something, each time I need to face another problem. But here I have 7 centimeters from middle to middle in the inside, and 9.5 centimeters from the outside. This because the internal radius is lower than the external radius. Those ones, impossible to use. Yes, my model was to use simply one there, and one there, obviously. But if I want to get more stability, as I modeled this one, but this one is not universal, this piece here, yes, it can be used everywhere. This one, no, because it isn't curved, it is suited only for straight tracks. So guys, they just finished the 3D printings, that's why I don't have much of them, but I had to use the same starting point, so those pieces there that are straight like that, and the other one is no more just in line, like you can see there, in line at the same level, but it needed to be slided and then rotated. Okay, so in order to go in the junction there from the outside like that, and then a piece for the inside of the curved section like that, guys. Okay, to improve the stability. In this case, if you wanted to give more stability, you go pieces by pieces. Okay, you cannot get those suited stability here and then also stability there. I just don't have two of them because this is already taken. You cannot get these stable, this piece here stable with this one like that, because they have in common one hole in the middle. So this you can use one here and one for the next two pieces. Okay, and maybe for the external you go this way. So where you don't have the junction between these two pieces because you have improved the stability of this piece and the next one, like in this case, like that. Okay, so in order to get, I managed to get more stable this piece and this one. This one and this one cannot be stabilized from the inside, from the internal radius. I will go with the outside. So this will allow me to stabilize each time something. And in this case, with the curves, I will not use the simple ones like that. Okay, maybe sometimes, but if I want to really get improved, but if I use those ones here, I will use those ones there, and maybe just one pillar here and one pillar there. It's a matter of stabilizing the most possible. Okay, so this one is already connected and two pieces getting together, and it is very stable, guys, very stable. And obviously I have not glued it for the simple purpose of this video. Okay, you can detach them as always. Okay, click, okay, and those will be the curves going right or going left or vice versa. Okay, so I will surely test the train during this part 5, but only on the straight track, because I still don't have enough pieces to test the curve, and I will not have by the end of this part 5. Okay, guys, let me do some cleanings, but you have understood almost everything here, and I still need to print some more clips. Good. Now let me talk about another problem, and I will use those tracks and maybe those 3 tracks to introduce another argument. Good, let's continue. When you want to use these HO tracks for your trains, you simply need to join them together and then push, and then they will connect together like this. I continue to use this one that is damaged, like then and also using straight tracks. I'm not using the flexible ones right now. Okay, so the train goes here, then goes there. And I don't know if you have ever noticed, but those tracks have from time to time those mini holes that you have seen me using many times in the past here on some holes. Those holes are intended to be used to fix the tracks, because if you don't pay attention, the tracks risk to do this. I will repeat. Maybe I will go with the green one, because black on black it isn't very visible. Like that, they are perfectly aligned and I can follow the line like that. But if I even do this, you see that the curve have changed from this to this, and the tracks have detached a minimum there. Here no, there yes. Use many of those pieces and you risk that, no, you don't risk, you have the certitude that the shape of your track will change completely due to this, okay? Because the tracks are no more connected, even more during the curves, okay? Because the curves is where each time the train passes through a junction, they tend to detach, okay? So those little holes are made to be used with some plywood or styrofoam, in this case, like that, okay? And each company sells also some track pins, okay? Track pins are very tiny pins that mine are plenty of glue, because I already have used them many times. But the principle is, when you are sure and certain of the junction of two tracks, just pin the first one there, just pin the second one there, maybe also pin the third one this one is completely immerged. The track is stable, even the second hole there. So this prevents the tracks to be separated and derailments or misdesign of or the wrong design of your track path. Okay, and generally you have 1, 2, 3 holes for the straight track, 1, 2, and 3 holes for the curved track. So with plywood this is possible because the pins are very small, so you can push and press and get it done. On styrofoam even better, okay, even better. But you already guessed what is my problem. And on some plastic like PLA, how could I avoid such problem? Because even if I go towards the plastic, if I place the tracks on the PLA, on the plastic, I cannot go through, okay? Yes, maybe forcing it, but no guys. and here in the middle useless because you don't have anything to be pinned. Okay, so big dilemma. Obviously I will assemble this one on top of these pieces by pieces. I will not work at 30 inches above the ground level in plain middle of nothing, working in impossible condition. I will need to maybe 4 curves and 3 straight tracks, one piece towards the other. But I also need to be sure that what I put on top of the thresholds of the structure there will be absolutely impossible to cause train derailments. Big problem, but I look at there. If you observe those ones there, you can see that in proximity of the ending part, where you need to have the insertion of the joining parts, there is a slight difference. It's like here you have a rectangle that here you don't have. Okay, here you don't have, but here yes, simply because it needs to be modeled like this to allow the connection between the tracks. So here I have this strange rectangle and one strange rectangle here at the end of the curved section, one strange rectangle there. Is there a way to improve the stability of the tracks joined together without using the pins? So I modeled this piece here, guys. This piece here is intended for the track. I will use the straight track there, like that. Okay, like that. Okay, and from the bottom, and you can see that on the other side you have another piece that maintains them together. Okay, so if I place and rectangle, 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 and 2 more rectangles. If I join together the 2 pieces there, and if I place this one there, okay, and another one and in the curves this one doesn't work because maybe yes, I simply need to force a little more. Yes, it will work. Yes, yes, yes. But I simply need to force. Voila, pin and pin. This is proof of detachment. Okay, guys, proof of detachment. They cannot detach. Sorry. Let me, if you are wondering why I marked 34.95 and 35.90. No, it is 34.95. It is the length there. No, it is 35.90. This because this one is too large, guys. Okay, it is too large. Okay, it tends to detach a little. It is not perfectly fixed like this one. It is 34.95, almost 35. Okay, this one is larger, and I can prove it putting them together. You can see that this one is larger than the other one. So I tested multiple of those one because I knew that the track here was 3 centimeters wide, but I didn't know precisely with all the design how to get. So 34.95, it is the final, and those ones are 34.95. If I use now this there, once again, that is shorter, you see that I will have to push it the same way and wait for the click to happen. Like that, like that, like that, and like that. Okay, this one too, impossible to remove, guys. Okay, so this one is too large. This one is too large, 35.90, but the 34.95 millimeters is perfectly suited for joining together the tracks, and they will maintain that stable because of the horizontal parts that join them together. Even if the curve started to go on a radius, the first two horizontal supports for the metal of the track are still parallel between them. So if you track them like that together, and the train will roll without problems on top of this. Okay, this is the perfect solution. I only printed, I think, 12 of them because I realized that it will be a waste of time 3D printing all white, then having to prime them and then paint them in black. And you know, because I already told you many times that I only print using white PLA or PLA plus filament. The white it isn't the same, and you may have noticed that with those two prints that the color isn't the same. This one is from Elegoo, the filament is white from Elegoo, this one is white from Gio 3D. So they call them white, but it is different. They have different shades of white. Okay, so okay, white like this one, because I decided to test the new FDM printer, because now I will have, from 2 days ago, I will have three FDM printers. I added a Elegoo Centauri Carbon fresh from the factory. I ordered that, I pre-ordered that 3D printer in March 2025, and he only delivered me in the last days, no, first day of on August the 1st, 2, 3, 4, yes, August the 1st, and I'm printing with the Gio 3D, Gio filament, all what it is coming out from the new FDM printer. This said, I will wait for 2 or 3 days before they deliver me some black PLA filament, because I have transparent, I have gray, and I have white, but I don't have black. I don't like black, but in this case I will need a black filament, and so on, guys. Even straight tracks with straight tracks like that, thick, like that, and connected, okay, like that. I can either crush them, they don't detach with this solution here, okay, but I will certainly not do that, okay. Once I have done this, I can place them on top, and I will use some double-sided tape to glue those track joiners to the main structure there, okay. In this way I will have solved the two problems. That another problem was how to connect them there. The ballast, I don't know right now about the ballast, but it is not important. Okay, so a little difference of 1 millimeter, 34.95 versus 35.90, less than a millimeter, it will cause such problems, okay, of instability of the tracks. But this way I get it without a problem, and if you want, I can prove you that without this, at a certain moment I will lose the track, and you already seen that it has moved. Okay, guys, so 34.95, all of them. On the new Centauri Carbon, Elegoo Centauri Carbon, 12 pieces at medium speed, 250 millimeters per second, it took me 1 hour to print 12 of them. And without supports, without a brim, without anything, just pure, all of them on the bed print, okay, on the print bed, okay, on the print bed, like that, okay. So let's go doing something else. One more thing, guys, here before I go to work, to the layout. During part 1 I told you that I wanted to do as much figurines as possible and in natural poses, okay, guys, and for this purpose I made 2 of them already. I modeled a lot this past week, but I wanted to do a test in order to let you understand why I have, yes, some filament FDM 3D printer, but also a resin 3D printer, an Elegoo, always Elegoo, resolution up to 8K, and I compared the same model printed with the same figurine, printed with the resin 3D printer and the FDM 3D printer. And I used the Centauri Carbon as an FDM printer because it is one of the latest on the market, with the latest technology, with the latest improvements, and a minimum layer of 0.1 millimeters. So guys, this is my first new figurine for this 2025 season. It is a musician, a trumpeter. It is a musician playing some trumpet. I modeled it standing on a crate like that. This is one of, and these figurines is one of my figurines that doesn't need a base to stand itself. I wanted some more natural poses, not like Lemax or Department 56 are doing. This musician is actually not striking a pose for the camera in order to be photographed, but it is playing some music, simply sitting on a crate. So this musician is the first addition of the new figurines I will model for this 2025 season. And the trumpet is defined. Don't worry about the discoloration. The white discoloration is because I cured this quickly without waiting for the water. I washed because I use water washable resins and not IPA washable resin, to quickly cure it before waiting some minutes that the water dried a little more. The same model, the same aids, I 3D printed with the Elegoo 3D printer, the FDM Centauri Carbon 3D printer, and I can approach the camera once again from the top. You already see the difference in the hat there. So this is the maximum quality possible, the white, for an FDM printer. This one is medium. I not even 3D printed at 8K, I printed only at 4K. Simply because at this dimension, printing at 8K, you won't recognize the difference. But look already here on the top of the hat and here on the top of the hat, it is missing something. If I place it there, you will immediately notice that a part of the trumpet is missing. That's because both have been 3D printed using supports. It's obvious that both this model need the supports, but the FDM printer uses support. The supports are too stiff, and when you try to remove them, the tiniest part cracks. And I have the trumpet there, okay, the part of the trumpet that is missing there, but each time I 3D printed, because I made 3 attempts in different positioning, because the positioning it like that, like that, like that, it changes the way the supports are created. The third one was more than the trumpet. Also, one leg was missing. But that part here, that is well defined with the resin printer, is completely missing there, the resistance, while removing all the support. Okay, so this is the main difference, but the principal differences are in the details of the face and everything else. The balls here that are prominent much more here than there. It is an extremely good printing with an FDM printer. Impossible to print exactly the same thing. Here also the pocket is defined here. Also the vest has much more details. The resin printed model. Okay, same thing here, missing something, and the face, the here, there is much more detailed than the here, there, especially when you will add and the smoothness of the surface here. Here it is rough, even if it is. You don't even see the layers there with this new 3D print, FDM 3D printer. But here, much more defined here, 1, 2, 3 here, just this one is visible there. So I made a test to demonstrate also the other piece of trumpet. Each time the trumpet broke at the same place, removing the supports. And this one has been printed like that, okay? So it was plenty of support there, but the entity, the way the supports are made, and the fact that you remove them before curing the figurine, this means that they are bendable a little, they don't break the rest of the model. Once you have 3D printed with an FDM printer, the hardness of the material is always the same. Here the tip is much more thin than the rest. So I compared for you 3D printing the same model, white FDM filament, gray, and with all the printers you get different results, okay? I will not explain the technology of this 3D printer because it's one of the latest technology, but let's get there and you will see a lot of these new figurines during this 2025 season, especially one that will come in a couple of months. I think I still need to finish one of the participants at that particular scene. I don't know, too soon to talk about it, okay? And one last thing to think, I think about people that could be there during Victorian to late Victorian time, 1800, late 1800, first years of 1900 up to 1910, 12, 20, okay, like that. No more than 1930s, 1940, okay, that range there. Because this is a modification of a bowler hat, then a musician with a tie, etc. Okay, let's get to the layout. final recap of part 5 of the 2025 season, and I am going to start with Miss Genevieve in front of Anne Boleyn, for me it is Boleyn cottage. Okay, I painted and finished the building number 3. Instead of having 4 and 3, you have 4 and 3 completed. Then a little arrow on the side there, if you can see there, little, and the symbol of the cottage there on the sign there. And I used decals on the main sign there and on the hanging one. So simple colors, some ivory buff, then some metallic green, and then some blue with some gloss effect, and then also some brown, 2 shades of brown for the wood, etc. And from the side, guys, wall of bricks there, then some typically Victorian time design there, and from the back nothing, because I haven't previewed anything to add to this back here, to this back there, and I will place it like that. Building number 4 is there, building number 3 that now has a name, Anne Boleyn cottage. Boleyn, call it whatever you want. Okay, then 2 surprises, guys. I decided to show you 4 new buildings. You know that here I have another streets that go there all along, hopefully. So I needed absolutely 2 corner building, 90 degrees building. For this side here, a typically English Victorian on the style of a corner pub there. Sorry guys, I was saying typically like a corner pub or a corner entrance of an hotel or restaurant, etc. Then some typically roof, English roof, Victorian era roof. Here would be able some scenes, then some fences here in the front, but I desperately needed a corner building, and this has been modeled 4 months ago, I think, but I wasn't sure to add it there, maybe on the other side, etc. Because corner buildings are important there. But also the other corner building, and this is the first of the magical building, and if you are a fan of this building, of this, let's say, word, this realm, this saga, you already recognize it by the shape of the columns that are not vertical. It's just 3D printed. Okay guys, I assembled it using some mask tape, etc. Inside there are a couple of scenes inside already 3D printed. These times I modeled them. Then a top that I 3D printed with transparent PETG, a chimney, etc. In reality, if you remember the saga, this building is originally a little longer there and a little longer on the other side there. The L-shaped building, the corner building. But for my purpose, let's say it is good like that. Very difficult to paint. I will use for the first time, when it will time to paint it, some black wash for the first time on a building, and then just some dirty white here and there. Okay, nothing more, nothing less than a surprise that I will not show you right now about that building, but just remember the saga, and I will keep my mouth shut. So 2 new buildings there. I don't know, maybe it is good, maybe certainly this design is going one towards the other. And guys, imagine the camera getting this street like that, passing. Right now I'm not using the real camera, but the effect when you pass, having side by side buildings like that, it will be a decent effect, I think. And I am filming not that close to the floor. Let me get to another position like that, and imagine rolling these like that. Okay, imagine the effect that could get this done. Okay, now let me take a step back, because here you have the train. This is another locomotive you never seen before. This is a Bumblebee locomotive, always from from Bachmann trains. Still the Mogul 260, and I coupled it with Thomas Kincaid tender. Nothing to do, but those sets are compatible, as you can see. And I experimented with the heaviest component of the train, the locomotives. It is always the heaviest. And if you see the buildings there, this is over the buildings. Okay, the buildings now are there, and this is over the buildings. Not too much, but it is over the buildings where I want. I don't think I will go over, because those buildings will be the tallest one. Okay, the tallest one for this section there. But if I need to go higher, taller, I can simply add another 3 inches of pillar somewhere, etc. I voluntarily left this one without completing the section down to the ground, to demonstrate that these will work even if not completed. And it is very stable, guys. It is very stable. You can see moving. But once everything will be connected, the forces will be subdivided by every single part. I miss some triangles, but I don't know if I will ever add them. Maybe something, because I have here the spacer to get this side at the same distance, but I don't have anything to keep these completely vertical. If I ever need something, I will try to imagine something. And then those side connector are good. Okay, they keep these very, very stable. Also the track joiner there, good. You have seen that the train rolls decently on these tracks. This is a little towards the upper because I used a faulty band track there, but no problem at all. I can use many, and I still have the tracks there. Okay, so it works, guys. Ta-da-da-da, it works. Can I improve it? Obviously, I still need to think about it. But if it can sustain the weight of a tender plus a locomotive, the rest, the other wagons, the other cars I will add, all of them will be at the same weight of these of these two, this couple here. And so if this couple is already there, it means the weight, the total weight of all the wagons, all the cars, plus locomotive, plus tender, will be subdivided correctly all along. Luckily, I remembered all my college physics and science. No, okay, joking. I will always remember all the laws I learned in college. Physics, chemistry, always. Then, guys, I've slided towards this part here, towards the end of the layout. I still have 30 centimeters there because I needed some space. Anyway, I had no intention to go further in this direction towards me with the buildings, and the buildings for this section will be ended by a building here, but I will have other buildings there. But in this way I avoid having the tracks going into the pipe, into the tube there, where I will have some fluid. It is a certain real fluid or not, still need to decide. But right now it is more simple to add a pillar there to elevate everything. If this is more cleared from the space, yes, I will have buildings coming right there, but I will find a solution to accommodate the rest of the tracks. Here I already added some straight parts there. I will continue 3D printing everything during the week. Maybe I will model and invent some other parts to get this more functional. And there, guys, you have Morellano's Antiquities. I don't know if you already seen it. Morellano's Antiquities. So an antiquities shop with curtains there, and with inside a Victorian nursery there on top floor. This is not painted, but it is a decal, and I used a white background decal in this case, trying to get the same color as I used there. And this color here is the same blue, chalky blue I used for my blue roofed houses from last season, but I added also some metallic iridescent silver metallic and a little of gloss on top of it here, and it is done voluntarily like that, not too visible, Masonic symbol, very in vogue at the time of Victorian time. Okay, guys, and I still have two more surprises for you. Let me place here the camera for just a second, because I need to go and take those two surprises. Okay, guys, so here I am. I took also Miss Genevieve with me, okay, like this, and you already seen this little guy some minutes ago there. It is not painted for the moment. I have no time to paint other figurines, but luckily for me I find the time to model, to 3D model the first figurines, the first of the figurines I want for this 2025 season, guys. And also I will place this one that you haven't seen, that it is strange for me, like this, in a corner, maybe a little, oops, I modeled these to be used without a base, but in case I will add a base. Let me go like this, maybe you can see. I don't know, maybe it is too modern, too towards 1920, etc. But like, I don't know, G.I. Joe, a PI, a private investigator, something like that, but in a pose that is realistic, guys. A man with a trench and a hat, playing winter, suffering from the cold that he is trying to disguise himself, maybe, and with a leg like that. It has already spent 20 hours watching for someone or for something, and now it is there trying to get a pose. Okay, all are the same dimensions, guys, even the musician there. Okay, now without the colors, they don't seems at 100%, but those are the poses I want for my 2025 village. As natural as possible, people doing something, so people doing something in a certain pose, etc., in a certain way of life. Okay, by the way, she is to like a striker pose, like Madonna on a striker pose, but I modeled it intentionally because she will accompany me all along this season. Bonjour Madame Geneviève, and she will face the camera 25 times this season. No, 22, 23 times. So obviously she need to be in a strikeable pose, Miss Geneviève. The other two, no, they are playing some music and observing and doing what else. But surprises. So one new building, two new figurines, this part of the layout pulled towards me, slided in order to prevent the railroad to crash into everything. The railroad there, finally at the 8 I want. Then two new buildings there. I know that you know what is this building. And then the painted cottage there, and Bolian cottage there. Four. So many new things with this part. 5. See you for the outro. Hélas non, ce n'est pas l'Orient Express. Je ne suis pas autant chanceux dans la vie, Madame Geneviève. Definitely not the Orient Express. I'm not that lucky in my life. Now I can say it can work. The train can roll on that 8. Absolutely need to do some adjustments, yes, because I was able to prevent the horizontal this way, the waves on this side, but now I needed to face the other weaving. A little more complicated, but with the main weight of the train being on the locomotive and the tender, if the locomotive and the tender can get through that section, so it can get all along around. And I was thinking maybe a different solution to enlarge a little more the base pillars with some strange idea. But for next time I will try to 3D print more and more of those pillars and try to get the railroad supports where they need to be. In the back there, adding the curves, but this will be for part 6. New buildings here, guys. You have seen the new cottage there and the two surprises, the two building surprises, the two corner buildings. More English one, and the other I'm still zipping my mouth, but you can not have recognize that it, come on, it's so simple. It is missing a primary actor, but it will come, I guess. Then the two new figurines. That's my intention, to pose them in the most natural poses possible, doing some actions. Like I have my camera with me and I'm walking around the city, walking around this Christmas village, and hoping that no one is seeing me, I take a photo of them. That's the more natural way of adding people, living people, giving the idea of having real people living there with just a picture of it instantly, freezed there. And you have seen all the comparison between FDM printers and resin printers. Then those joining pieces, those track joiners, I think they can be useful to many people. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is like it is. The antiquities shop, okay, the Morellanos Antiquities shop. Inside I have always my standard external and internal point of view printed on some paper, but now with 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings there, and the next one you have guessed in the corner there that will go 90 degrees towards the back of the layout. It is like it is. So what I was lacking in addition to my village in part 4, I added them now. These, I'm not 100% convinced about the design of that corner building, not the little one, the bigger one. Up to you to tell me if it can suit. It is missing signposts, canopies, etc. But like that. I know that I said in previous parts that these maybe would have been a restaurant, but I prefer to go with a cottage. Then what else? The sliding. Now I can fit better the tracks on top of the elevations structure there with less problems. And then Miss Geneviève always there. Try not to jump, please. Try not. Ne vous jetez pas, okay? Ne plongez pas par là-haut. She is so crazy that she could attempt to dive into the emptiness from that 8. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, give big thumbs up, and think about that hype functionality added to my channel. Thank you for bearing my absolutely awful English. Thank you for watching, and especially see you in part 6, but only if you really wish and if Miss Geneviève will allow me to film part 6. Bye guys.